When Lord of the Rings Gollum launched back in May of 2023, I thought to myself, surely it cannot get worse than this. Surely we have peaked. And by peaked, I mean to the bottom. Surely we have peaked to the bottom of the iceberg. Hell, to the bottom of the ocean with the Lord of the Rings Gollum. Surely there cannot be a worse game this year. Well, in comes Skull Island Rise of Kong to challenge this notion. Now, to give you an idea for how bad Gollum was, so you can understand what it takes to be worse than Gollum, it launched with a Metascore of 34% from 56 critic reviews and a user score of 1.2. On OpenCritic, only 4% of critics recommended. On Steam, you can see that it's a mostly negative review score of 36% with only 352 reviews. And going to Steam charts, you can see nobody's playing it right now. There was a 24-hour peak of 8 players, and the most amount of players we saw at the same time was 758 players 5 months ago. This game was so bad that certain reviewers straight up could not finish and score this game. Hell, reviewers had more of a fun time coming up with fun headlines than playing the game. We're talking about a situation where Gollum straight up became the worst reviewed game of the year. Now, we still haven't seen critic review scores for Skull Island Rise of Kong, but it might just surpass. Somehow, this game justified charging $70 for this garbage despite it looking like this. That's just one of many examples. I mean, there are compilations of Gollum bugs and glitches everywhere. On YouTube, on Twitter. Is that you? Even looking at screenshots like this, you can see that this is not only one of the worst games of 2023, just straight up one of the worst games in our modern time. This was a disastrous enough game launch that it straight up shut down the game development division of Daedalic Entertainment, the developer and publisher behind this atrocity. Now here comes a new challenger, Rise of Kong Skull Island, which I did talk about in a video that I published on July 23rd, 2023. I had suspicions that this might become a Gollum type of situation, titling the video Skull Island Rise of Kong trailer mocked by internet called The Next Gollum. And for good reason. Screenshots that leaked before the game's official announcement looked like this. I mean, need I say more? Just look at this. This is not flattering in the least. And then the trailer came out and we had the unfortunate displeasure of seeing the game in motion, and that's what that looked like.
Of course, but his legacy has just begun.
Unleash your fury. So yeah, the footage that was shown before the game's launch was not flattering in any way, shape, or form. You get the idea. The trailers garnered mass dislikes across the board. On GameMill's official YouTube channel, 4.2 thousand dislikes versus 461 likes. On IGN's upload of this trailer, 19,000 dislikes versus 2.2 thousand likes. But it gets even worse when you see the game in action, which is now possible because the game launched today, October 17th, 2023. Here's part 1 of the full game on the Nintendo Switch, uploaded by YouTuber BattleBunny. This segment in particular is being memed to hell and back, though every bit of footage seen of this game can be memed. Let's check this bit out. Look at the graphics, like, this is at best PS2 era. And then the gameplay is just extremely basic, bland. The AI, obviously. Cutscene of the decade. Wait, it gets worse. Wait for it. Wow. To somehow look this much worse than Gollum, I mean, that takes years of scientific advancement, and yet they've done it here. Now, there is no Metascore for this game yet, as review copies were not distributed. We got some user scores here on Steam. You can see what some people are saying already. And by the way, this game came out at 40 bucks. It has since been discounted with a $20 discount here. It's $31.99 or $32. And then there's this Colossal Edition that's priced at $55. That's gone down to $42.30. Even $32 is an insulting price point for a game that sets the bar of quality so low. Here's what some of the reviews read like. Charging £35 for this game is one of the most audacious things I've seen in my life. Holy shit, is this bad? How is this even allowed to be sold? We have peaked, again, to the bottom. This should not be something you can sell legally. Who gave these devs the licensing for this? That's the thing about this. Like, in this day and age, who gives out the license for IPs that are as renowned as Lord of the Rings and King Kong to these kinds of developers? Like, who is not doing their due diligence to check on the developer's track record and history? In the case of Skull Island Rise of Kong, this game was developed by Iguana B and published by Game Mill Entertainment, neither of which who have a great track record. If you look at games published by Game Mill, these are the kinds of games that they publish, stuff that could be considered shovelware, with their most prominent game release being Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, and even that hasn't gone down super well. And then as far as the developer goes, Iguana B, these are the games that they've published, some G.I. Joe games and some other stuff that's not all that prominent, and who you wouldn't expect to really make the best King Kong game. The game's commercial performance is going about as well as expected, with an all-time peak of 22 players as of the game's launch, with only 17 players playing right now. I don't suspect that these numbers are going to get much higher. These numbers make Gollum's all-time peak of 758 players look like a breakout success. Word has already been spreading far and wide. In fact, we have a tweet here that has garnered over 62,000 likes in just a few hours. Word is already spreading far and wide. On Twitter, you'll find tweets like these that have garnered over 62,000 likes, highlighting some of the memeable clips from the game and labeling this game exactly what it is, which is a complete scam. Actual cutscene, do not buy the new King Kong game. It is a complete scam, and this is the clip that was highlighted. This is just, again, that zoom in. Just one of many examples. Let's highlight another tweet that has gone viral by showcasing another cutscene from the game that looks equally dreadful. New King Kong game looks like Game of the Year material, sarcastically says this Twitter user. Here's the clip in question. Even the audio sounds all kinds of messed up. And the faces that we see King Kong make throughout this game. Oh my god. Hold on, I need to see this again. That face, I understand. That's the face you make when you realize that you spent money on this travesty. In reply, Twitter user Rick here also posted another clip where he said, "Step aside, Elden Ring." It is all kinds of jank. Just riveting, you guys. Just the most bland, basic form of open world traversal, platforming, and exploration possible. Skipping ahead, I mean, that's this whole segment. Yeah, you get the idea. Next up, we got a clip from Rick as well, who said, "I take back everything bad I said about Godzilla PS4. Game Mill, King Kong deserves better than whatever this is supposed to be." What do we have here? You can see all these visual artifacting, all of the glitched out in-game assets, the frame rate, my god. How does a PS2 game run at 15 frames per second with modern hardware? Yeah. I'm not watching a minute of this. Again, you get the idea. Here's one more for good measure. There's a 2-minute clip with a tweet that reads, "Gameplay of Skull Island Rise of Kong. This costs $40 and is made by people that make low-effort shovelware with big IP franchises. The modern LJN." Referring to a company that went defunct many, many years back who did something similar. Here's what this clip looks like. I guess this is a boss battle or something. A giant enemy crab, as it were. Dear God. Just putting FromSoft to shame, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this masterpiece. Oh, is there a funny cutscene? Oh, dear God, yes, there is. The cutscenes are the highlight of this game. The stuff that you don't get to play. Because of the laughter that it brings. Oh, there's a second phase. Hell no, I'm not about to see another minute of that. Yeah, this is Skull Island Rise of Kong, ladies and gentlemen. It makes Gollum look like a Game of the Year nominee. Here's what's especially shocking. There is another King Kong video game that came out back in 2005 called Peter Jackson's King Kong Official Game of the Movie. Not the most elegant title, but this was actually a pretty decent game, and people are reminiscing about this after the travesty that is this new game that has come out in 2023, almost 2 decades after the PS2 release, which, by the way, looks like this. Check this out. Almost 20 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, this game came out. Just the modernized version of this would do. And yet somehow, what we get instead looks like this. Yeah, no, I can't watch anymore. These IP holders need to start caring a little more. How does Lord of the Rings, King Kong, both IPs with such huge potential for video game adaptations, go to developers like these who don't give a single fuck about releasing something of high quality? Especially in 2023, which is one of the best years of gaming ever. Some of the biggest cadence of high-quality releases we've ever seen. To see a nearly 2 decades old game look so much better. I mean, it is, And the presentation even, the music, you know, I'm not saying this is some masterpiece, you know? This game's far from perfect, but it does. I mean, look at this shit. It does evoke that visceral feeling of what it would be like to play as King Kong enough where this is a game that has been highly appreciated. I'm very curious to see if we're going to get an apology letter from Iguana B like we saw from Daedalic Entertainment after the disastrous launch of Gollum, and whether they too will rely on AI, as reported here by outlet Game2, who spoke to developers who said that the game publisher behind, or one of the game publishers behind this Gollum game, Nacon, decided to not consult with Daedalic about this apology statement and used AI to write it, which is why we see rather egregious misspellings like the title of the game, which is The Lord of the Rings Gollum, and is spelled here as The Lord of Ring Gollum. And even if Iguana B put out the best apology letter ever, there's simply no pricing that would justify a game like this. I wouldn't play this for free. Jesus, look at the pop in there. You'd have to pay me to play this game, to waste time on something like this. And it sucks to see that this is the kind of treatment the King Kong franchise is getting. But again, the potential for an awesome Kong video game is so high. This game is an insult to customers, to people who spend their hard-earned money on video games, and it's certainly a big middle finger to the King Kong IP. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on Skull Island Rise of Kong. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.